Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. And just like that, we're back with another amazing episode of the Her Voice Shines podcast. I am your amazing host, streaming from the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. My name is Shanasia Washington. I am so happy to be in this place because something just tells me in my spirit that we got a good one today. Well, all of them are good, but I think this one's going to bring us some heat and some fire. I'm so honored to have her. And you know the drill. We waste no time around here. She comes to the stage, tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and boom, just like that, we get the story. And without any further waiting time, here's my very beautiful guest for today.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Kimberly Jackson. I'm a family medicine physician, but I'm also an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a mom, just all around, I feel like wonderful person from what I hear from friends and family. And so I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity on Her Voice podcast. And just a little bit about myself. Like I said, I am a family medicine physician. I own a family medicine clinic in Phoenix City, Alabama. I'm licensed in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. I also have a nonprofit organization, Physicians Working Together, where we focus on connection, collaboration, because we care about our patients as well as our physicians, as well as our communities. And we do healthcare town halls. We provide medical scholarships, and we're going to have a 10-year anniversary Med Gala in June of 2025. So I'll get with the host to get that information to you. Come on out, support, vendors, sponsor, participate in the program. And one of my latest ventures is Inspire and Empower with Dr. J. And part of that is I wrote a book, The Sun is Rising, 10 strategies to get unstuck, find your voice, walk in your purpose, live passionately, and step outside of your box. In addition to the book, there's a lovely journal. So these together just help you take yourself to a higher level. We have like songs with the chapters, questions, even in the journal, it has some coloring pages as well as puzzles. Because as a physician, I realized there's different ways to reach different people. So excited about being on this program, sharing more with you about what I do, but all around just a person that wants to encourage and inspire you and empower you to live your best life.
Oh, I love it. And I love the energy that you bring. And I love what you said. You said from what you hear from friends and family. She said Dr. Kimberly Jackson is a good person. I picked it up in the spirit. And I hope that you also to believe that from other people just saying that and providing affirmation. But Dr. Kimberly, you got a lot of stuff going on. She said she's a whole position. She's a whole position out here. She said nonprofit. She has written books and has all these different things going on. And we were doing some research and looking at some of the information that you sent in. And what stood out, you said that you have to play that balancing and juggling act. But what the icing on the cake was that you said, I believe in the power of strong team. And I think that you need to expand on that because there's so many women that watch this podcast that are just starting out and trying to do it alone and not really knowing how to figure out and weave in team. I wanted you to talk about your experience there and really that transformative power that a team provides, a good team provides.
Absolutely. Thank you. And the thing is, a lot of us hear the phrase too, like it takes a village, right? It takes a community to raise a child. That's even when you have any businesses that you have, like you said, folks yourself encouraging you, hey, go out, girl, do this podcast. You have to have those cheerleaders in your corner. You also have those folks that are on you about making sure that it happens and holding you up to the standards that you put out there that you want to do. But you realize that, you can't do it by yourself. There's just generally not enough hours in the day when you have multiple hats that that you have to wear. So for me, discovering one, of course, friends and family, and then also spending money. Like sometimes people realize, I don't want to put money out there if I'm not going to get it back. But you have to realize that's an investment in your future. That's an investment in your company, in your business, in order to take things forward. So for myself, definitely my right-hand woman has been Jennifer Simpson. When I think she may have been on the program before, Art Intellectual. Just an amazing person. Then I have board members, that have some been with me for a while, and they kind of, go in and out depending on what's going on. But by far, definitely the physician community, my family. I have to definitely give a shout out to my parents, my siblings, other colleagues and things. I know one is even mentioned in my book, Dr. Chambers, just various persons that are there in my corner that support me, that encourage me. My big brother, Eric, he's actually my nonprofit's executive director. So it's one of those things of just opening yourself up to let people share in your vision, and realizing without provision, the vision can't stand. So you got to basically have those resources of not only financial provision, but also, of course, persons investment. So I realized that's the way that I'm able to do the things that I do. And of course, with my daughters, being supportive and encouraging mommy to do things. There's nothing better than to be like, mommy, you wrote a book, I want to write a book too, so all of those things, when you open yourself up to having a team and having folks that can help you succeed and go to higher levels. And you have to sometimes reach out for like professional help. I have to have an accountant, I have to have a lawyer, I have to have those persons in place so I can focus on the mission of spreading my message, because I need those things taken care of, but I don't need to have to do them myself.
Oh, I absolutely love it. And did you say you came through Jennifer? Let me just say, I had her on the show. And I love her. We're actually both here in the Houston area. And just from, H-Town, we represent. And when I say it's been a beautiful connection just since early July. So that is kind of the power of networking and really building those relationships. Like we're right here in like each other's backyard, and we had no idea. And we've, been talking and celebrating women since the time that we met. So I love to hear that you are essentially, to me, an extension of her. Which makes me feel really, really good in this space. Now, I do want to say this, though, because when you talk about the team and things of that sort, there then becomes a level of scaling, right? Because this team is going to get me to the next level. I can start working on, things as the visionary and things of that sort. But, ouch, the pain. And people don't talk about that because you sometimes feel as though you're losing that personal touch sometimes that you have when you're closer to the client, close to the project. Can you talk about navigating that space? Because, I'm thinking I love the intimate spaces that I have with many of the people that I work with, but I do know in due time the things that's happening, the things that I'm manifesting, the conversations I'm having, is going to require Sinead to take a different path than always having to be in that intimate spot. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think it kind of goes hand in hand with that team and then kind of that next level of scaling.
Oh, absolutely. So first and foremost, I have to be transparent with your listeners and viewers that I am still struggling with this, because you're right. When you have something that you consider this your baby, is close to your heart, you of course want to protect it and you want to make sure, of course, that message gets out. So I'm learning as I'm growing as well that, hey, I have to entrust this vision and message to other people. And particularly when the case of, I had a recent event with a Black Health and Wealth Expo, which was amazing. Jennifer wasn't able to make it with some other conflicts. And so I had to lean on my family, and my mom and my niece, they came through. I mean, they were there, girl. My mom was telling people, this is the best book ever, next to the Bible, and just, of course, just that support and just, shouting out and encouraging you and taking you to a higher level. So that's on that small scale of even just looking at family or other folks that are in your corner, just kind of let them be a part of your vision and your mission. And then expanding out for myself personally, as far as looking for more board members, looking for more people to support the mission and the vision. And I've been told before, hey, you got to get out here and do things like this. You got to get out there and tell the people about it. Closed mouths don't get fed. So it's something I'm growing into, but I just realized in order to take the mission of the things I have, as far as inspire and empower, as far as looking into, per se, coaching or sharing other workshops for women, or with physicians working together, medical student mentorship, getting out to medical schools and getting those places and get those persons in place so we can be able to take that mission higher. We can do more and more medical student scholarships. And of course, the healthcare town halls. Obviously, I can't do those things myself. So some of it is like kind of releasing that control. So I've looked into different things like Chamber of Commerce is here joining and being members of that. So those people can bring their resources and we can work together. And you still are able to maintain your individuality while you also have the benefits of a group. So I just encourage everyone, don't be afraid about scaling or letting people in on the vision. Now, I did have an incident where I had to kind of put my foot down, where someone was trying to come in a particular idea that I had. They wanted to kind of just take over and change it. Or they even wanted to change the date of the event, the time frame, talking about we're going to share the proceeds. So, there's boundaries as well. So I was like, well, no, we're going to continue with what we were planning on doing. at the time we were doing. And as a nonprofit that's getting started and trying to get more resources, those funds and those things that we're going to bring in, we're going to keep ourselves. So it's a balance. You scale, you invite the team in, you invite people that support you, but you want to make sure you also maintain your boundaries so that your message is on point, and so the things that you need, you get, and you're not held with a short stick. So
I love it. And that's that fine line in leadership, right? Because you have the team, but you got some jokers that are coming there and think, you know what I'm talking about. They come in there and try to run the show, and you do have to have that fine line to say, okay, yes, I know I need the team for support, but I'm also too, number one, holding people accountable, and number two, I know how to clear ship because I know the ultimate goal of this, and some people just not going to ride the wave for forever.
Right.
Growth and learning. When I was looking at this information, I said, something stands out very, very vivid in Dr. Kimberly's information. She said, I was in high school, and she said, my pastor, asked me what I wanted to be. Okay. Right. And Dr. Kimberly said, well, look, I'm just going to go be a nurse. Okay. He said, why a nurse? And why not a doctor? And why not this? And why not that? So that planted kind of a seed.
Correct.
I want you to talk from a perspective of having that growth mindset and potential, because those seeds have to be planted. Because sometimes if you say, I want to do this, you've never had the view or sight to do something beyond that, because that's on all that's been presented kind of in your world, if that makes sense. I want you to talk about the growth mindset that may have been something that, of course, stood out because you wrote into us about it. Talk about that experience and really maybe even other experiences that fueled that I have to keep growing, I have to keep learning, I have to keep emerging.
Absolutely. Yes. So, and I have to give a shout out to this gentleman, Pastor Frank McAfee, back when I was in high school. And there is a saying, that if people can see it, they can be it, So the thing is, sometimes, particularly in our communities, which may be, communities of color or communities of lower socioeconomic standards, that they don't see per se people excelling as much as maybe in other communities. So a lot of times what you think you want to be or what you think you can do may be limited just by what you see. So until someone kind of challenges you and makes you think outside that box, it's not a bad thing. You just may be putting yourself in a box. So in this instance, when he was like, hey, you know what, you're top of your class, you're making straight A's, you seem to be a bright young lady, what's your future? And so, at first I was like, maybe I want to be a teacher. My mom's a teacher. My brother's an educator. And then I was like, I'm gonna keep it real. I was like, these kids kind of challenging. I actually said bad, but I know that's not politically correct anymore. But anyway, I was like, maybe I don't want to do that. So then I was like, I do like the human body. I do like taking care of persons. I do want to be helpful to my community. And honestly, at that time, I actually wasn't really aware of a lot of, say, Black nurses either. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'll be a nurse. And his response basically was, why stop at a nurse? Why don't you become a doctor? And I just thought about it and I was like, why don't I become a doctor? I've never had any doctors in my family. I am the first generation, physician in my family. My brother's a physician now. He said I inspired him. So that's always a beautiful thing. And so just him planting that seed helped me realize that, hey, you know what? I can't step outside of the box that I put in myself, which is, basically same thing I'm saying with the book, the steps to get unstuck. This is a box I created myself just to say, I think maybe this is the limit of what I can do. But by someone challenging me, or at least giving me another perspective, I was able to say, hey, maybe I can go beyond that. So that's something I also try to encourage anyone that I mentor or anyone I come across with my book, with the nonprofit, with what I do, even as a physician. Basically, you don't have to stay in that box. You can grow. And a part of life is growing. That's what we're supposed to do. And growing sometimes, like we call it, growing pains, sometimes can be painful. But just like you have the transformation of the butterfly, you have to realize that change, does cause some different things to happen, can be painful. But in the end, the change that you develop into what you become is so beautiful and so amazing. And we still never stop growing because you still want to always make sure you're just pushing yourself to higher and higher limits and levels.
Oh, I love it. And you know what's beautiful, I think, about your journey, Dr. Kimberly, and it's this, because I've actually interviewed a couple of physicians, particularly women of color physicians, since the run of the show. And one of the things that was such a challenge to them was moving beyond the title of doctor, right? Yeah. When they got the title doctor, that then started to define them. And they got to be, I think, late 30s, early 40s, and saying, okay, well, I'm kind of more than just a physician. There are things in me that I want to just birth as a woman. There are other causes and there are other initiatives. So to see you have multiple touch points, yeah, I'm Dr. Kimberly Jackson, but hey, I like to mentor too. Hey, and I got this nonprofit. That to me means so much to me because I love to see that you move beyond just the title, and that has been inspiring. And when I go back and play this, I'm going to make sure that I reach out to other physicians because I think you've demonstrated such a beautiful sprint in that space. I was like back there cheering you on as you were talking that last segment. I'll tell everybody when I'm back here, I'll screen. I'll be having my own hallelujah fits back here. I
love it. I love it.
That's just who I am because I see that. The other thing is I want you to talk more about this medical mentorship program. What's been, of course, evident, especially in underserved communities, people of color communities, there's still a need. There's still such a need. The numbers are there. I want you to talk about the mentorship a little bit deeply, and then really what are some of those maybe top 3 key areas that you're seeing as weaknesses as it relates to the people that are coming into the mentorship.
Absolutely. So, of course, mentorship in any facility, any type of profession is important, right? So, of course, I'm a physician, so mine naturally goes to medical students. And so realizing myself that I wouldn't have considered even being a physician if I hadn't had that person plant that seed. And then also realizing when I went into medical school that basically I went to the University of Mississippi School of Medicine. At that time, it was only one school of medicine in Mississippi, and that was UMC, which was in Jackson, Mississippi. They have 100 students per year. And of those students, only 3 of us were Black in my class from a whole state. And so part of that I know was the fact of, one, do you have the resources? Do you have people mentoring other, particularly brown kids, or just people, period, about the pathway for medicine? And so having that background of this person inspired me to think about being a physician, going into a class that basically had 100, only 3 of us were there, having my challenges, which I describe in the book, and, sometimes not having that support system of folks saying, hey, you can do it, you can make it. I wanted to make sure other medical students didn't have these issues. So one of the things that we are branching out, not only say into the medical student mentorship program, but also going into our elementary and our middle schools, because like I said, if you can't see it, you can't be it in some cases. So having physicians go to those career days and tell them, hey, this is what a physician is, this is what I do, this is why I love what I do, and to encourage them to do those STEM courses, the science, technology, engineering, math, because you're going to need those things also to be able to succeed in the medical field. And then when we get medical students, of course, we're taking them under our wing. I am actually a basically academic liaison for Morehouse School of Medicine. I also have VCOM. So I'm a preceptor for those. So they come into my clinic, I take them under my wing, and I even maintain, connection with them after they finish the rotation with me. And the feedback has been, you make us see that medicine can be fulfilling and happy, and you care about your patients and just a different way you do it. So that, feeds my soul. But it's also something, of course, I encourage other physicians and other people to do, to take these medical students, mentor them. And so with physicians working together, we have like a formal medical student mentoring program, which we're inviting physicians in, and we're going to work with medical schools and work with medical students so we can just continue this pathway, because we also want to make sure our residents are finishing. A lot of people don't realize that not only are we not going to have enough physicians in the next year because it's going to be this huge shortage, we're also having, unfortunately, physicians that are taking their lives. So there's a statistic of about 400 physician suicides a year. And one of my dear friends, Valerie, who was a mother of 4, several years back, took her life. So I have this whole background of basically things that have happened in life that I realize all things work together for the good, because they're helping me be a voice for those that may not be able to speak, or to help those be heard that people may not hear. And this part of this is the medical mentorship. So I invite particularly physicians that are watching this, go to physiciansworkingtogether.org. Please sign up to be a mentor. We're working with different schools. If you have a school or a program that wants to work with us, please, 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 because it's really one of the initiatives we want to get off the ground and running even more, because this is how we protect our future. This is how we make sure we have physicians for the future. And we also want to make sure they're healthy and they're well. We don't want anybody just doing a job just because they have to. We want them to make sure that while they're taking care of others, people are taking care of them, as well as we're taking care of ourselves.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And the other thing about, these podcasts and why I enjoy them so much, to get, like this insight, because I don't think I had drew the line between like suicide and physicians. So to hear that number kind of gave me chills a little bit, because it's a high stress job. And the other part of that is the shortage. And to be honest with you, Dr. Kimberly, because I have elderly grandparents and we have a series of doctor's appointments I take them to, like I already feel like it's the shortage is happening right now.
Those weights, girl, those weights. I know. How long it take? I got you.
Yeah, she like, next year, I'm like, I feel like I'm living it right now, and seeing that shortage. So, I mean, that mentorship is so, so important. And I had a guest that does a lot in STEM, engineer that worked in Los Angeles sanitation department. I mean, she focuses a lot on STEM and early careers in medicine, where they actually be in medicine or technology or wherever they end in engineering, but that early engagement, I think, is so key. You know what I mean? Like I'm learning it, and like these past 30 days, like I've been on a high about it. So like, I'm just blessed to be in a place to where like now, look, I know people that you can go to get that early, interaction, all of that meeting, all these people who are coming, like Dr. Kimberly sharing this information. So I am really beyond grateful. I want to switch a little bit more to physicians working together because something that we've seen in the research is actually something that happened to me where I was working with a physician and then my insurance changed. And it's like, well, you can't go there no more. I say, what?
Exactly.
But that's how I know that was rough, but that's how I feel when they telling you that. And I've already built this rapport with this doctor. I like them. They know my medical history. The bedside manner is good. The wait time is good. It passed all of those feel good checks. And then you want to tell me all of a sudden it's a no.
I know.
So when I saw that, it really resonated because it actually happened to me during my pregnancy.
Oh man.
Back in 2017, when I was pregnant with my son. And when I tell you, like I mean, I was hurt. It traumatized me a little bit because I had all plans of working with this physician who was a woman of color who I wanted to be my physician.
Exactly.
And they changed her in the middle of my in the middle of my pregnancy. Just from a perspective, I mean, I want you to shed a little bit light on that a little bit more, because another thing that I'm also too finding, particularly like with my grandparents, because they're on Medicare plans, like they only have in the plans, like sometimes they have like 2 or 3 doctors in the network. These people are overworked. We come in there, the waiting time is ridiculous. We're getting poor service, and we don't even have the option, Dr. Kimberly. We don't have the option to go nowhere else. So I'm here fighting tooth and nail with these people. Get us on the schedule. I'm busy. We got to get in there. We need refills. But just talk more in a perspective of that physician advocacy for the patient population.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're giving me the opportunity to discuss this, because Physicians Working Together is my baby. So it's a nonprofit organization that I started back on Facebook, basically in 2005. It went from 3 members to now we have about 9,000 all over the nation and international. We do healthcare town halls, we do medical student scholarships, but people a lot of times like, what made you start it, right? So that was one of the major things that made me start it. Definitely, like I mentioned before, the loss of my physician friend, because I wanted doctors to be supported, because sometimes healers need healing too. Also, of course, medical student mentorship, and just wanted to encourage people to go into the field, because it's going to be, I think, about 90,000 shortage by 2036. But the biggest part of it is patience, which is why we do what we do. I mean, most physicians they have the reputation in society as, physicians are, say, greedy doctors, or they just don't care, white men or whatever. And medicine has changed. Yes, I'm still considered a unicorn, because I think it's only about 3% of physicians are Black female physicians. But having said that, the terrain is changing, and the fact that how we're presenting ourselves, we're trying to let the public know we really do care about you and we see your issues. So when my patient came and they were distraught, they were like, hey, I work here. I want to see you. I don't know what's going on. I may change my plan. Now I can't see you. And if I see you out of pocket, it's going to be several $100s. I was just like, what is going on? So I actually was thinking at first, like, this can't be true. So I called the employer, I called some other places, and I was like, this is true. They ended up having like an urgent care staff with some mid-levels. And essentially, they were telling them they all needed to go there, regardless if they wanted to or not. So I ended up talking to the director there, the clinic director, going all the way up to the regional VP. But I felt like I was just spinning my wheels. So I was like, I'm doing this in this kind of silo by myself. How do I let my colleagues know? So then I started having meetings on the weekends at the library. And then somebody said, why don't you use social media? So I started the Facebook group. And so with that, what it's allowed us to do is like put some of these topics and concerns in the group, as well as have individual, like we just recently had a health and wellness expo. If you check out my site at inspiredempowered.org or physiciansworkingtogether.org, you'll see that, where we talk to the community and let them know the resources. So the questions that you're having, why the wait so long? Why can't I only get a few medicines? Why can't I only see a few doctors? Because a lot of this comes back to patient empowerment, for them realizing they do have a say, the plans that they choose, get more information, calling these insurance plans themselves, because we can advocate for you, but it's nothing better than you advocating for yourself, because that's where they're beholden to. They're beholden to the patient. And then sometimes we also got to roll up our sleeves. Physicians Working Together has went to DC, went to the Capitol to try to talk to these representatives, talk to these congressmen and women and senators, and say, hey, this is what patients are dealing with. This is what the constituents are dealing with and what they need. Because if they don't have that voice or either the tools to speak up, then this continues to be a problem. So I don't see like per se right now, say a quick or easy solution, but I do see some changes, and some of the things that can help people is, speaking up, calling their insurance, talking to the physician. Even if there's someone you like, you can possibly see if they have a self-pay plan. So therefore you can maybe pay out of pocket, and you can put that, and you got to talk to a tax accountant, but possibly put health expenses on your tax return. And that way you still are able to see the person that you want to see. I have a couple that there were entrepreneurs that had a business, and they decided that they weren't going to do insurance. That was kind of, I think, before the Affordable Care Act. And what they would do is, like, every birthday, he would like buy her mammogram, and then she would like buy his prostate exam, whatever, physical, whatever. And they made it there because they said if their insurance made them pay, say, $1,000 a month, and they knew coming to see me would say a couple $100, I'm just throwing it out there, that it would cost them much less to do that than to be able to have insurance. Now, of course, catastrophic insurance is a whole nother topic if something happens to you, but just basic preventative care, a lot of times people may decide even to go around the system and to make that the case. So with your major Medicare plans and other things like that, speak to the persons, see what needs that you need, speak to the doctor's office to try to see if you can get the things that your parents and loved one needs, but also realize, there's only 3 persons in network. A lot of times that's because the other networks have not taken care of the doctors, and they may choose not to participate. So it's one of those things where we all work together, which is about what Physicians Working Together is, with our communities, with our patients, with our physicians, our representatives, and speak to, say, the powers that be, like insurance companies, that, hey, patients deserve better, and we need to not make these networks so small. We need to make sure we're taking care of the doctors as well as the patients, so they will have the freedom to choose where they want to go, and they can continue to see doctors that they have a relationship with, that care for them. So it's a work in progress, but definitely I'm glad that you understand that issue. I'm sorry your folks are going through that. But just know from our point, we're frustrated as well. And we want you to know we're trying to work on it from our end too, to make sure patients are able to see the doctor they want to see, as well as get the services that they need.
I love it. And I think that's why that community that you've created is so powerful, because they're knowledge based. And sometimes, it is, because sometimes you don't know what to say, and to know that your doctors are in there with you in the fight, that makes all the difference, at least to me, as the patient, knowing that, you're in here, you're rooting for us, you're advocating for us, because it definitely takes a village. And I think this year in 2024, I've just had so many calls with insurance companies and providers and different things. When I've seen this come over, I was like, oh man. I love it. It's speaking to me, because I've had to have so many different long calls, frustrating calls. And then also too, but in that, Dr. Kimberly, also too, realizing the blessing that I'm able to do that and support them through all these calls.
Very true.
So even though it's challenging for me, I'm happy to be the vessel to be able to help them through those challenges. Now, I know we have a lot of things in terms of contact points, Dr. Kimberly. We cannot leave the space without you telling our listeners and viewers where they can connect with you, whether it be through the mentorship program or through the Physicians Working Together. We just want some solid contact information so they have a reference point to get back to you.
Oh, absolutely. So first and foremost, if you are in the Phoenix City, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia area, the name of my clinic is Jackson's Point of Life Family Medicine. So jplmed.com, you can find me there. And then as far as the nonprofit organization, physiciansworkingtogether.org, or you can do thepwt.org, THEPWT.org. If you're a physician or a medical student, we have a Facebook group, Physicians Working Together. Feel free to join. You will be asked some questions to verify. Or if you're just a member of the public, we have a Physicians Working Together community page. We're also on Instagram as Physicians Working Together. And then my new brand, Inspire and Empower with Dr. J. You can find me at inspireandempower.org. We're also on Instagram, it's Inspire and Empower with Dr. J. So I just love for you to reach out, and we can definitely get you all those links. Look, my girl Jennifer can definitely get you all of those links to make sure that we can connect and be able to share this information. And I'm open to input into questions and to folks that want to collaborate and work with us, because the deal is, like I say, physicians working together. It's just not about doctors working together. It's about us working together with our communities, with our patients. So the concerns and questions that you have, we have resources that we can encourage you or inspire or empower or just maybe direct you to, we'd love to do that. Because it's all about, like I say, my legacy of just wanting to help and to have made an impact. I tell people whenever I do, I want people to say, hey, I met Dr. Jackson, I met Kim, whatever you meet me in the pathway of life in the book, Kimora, I met her, and my life is better for it. And that's the thing. You want to have an impact where you've shown kindness and, courage and just resilience. And you, like I say, my brand is, and inspired and empowered people to live their best life. So yes, get my book, The Sun is Rising. It's uninspiredempowered.org. It's also on Amazon. So I think it's something that you'll love for yourself as well as for your for your coworker, for yourself, for your family member. I have men that have read it, that thought it was amazing. Of course, women that read it. So anyone, even some people giving it to their daughters. So definitely check that out. And you can also connect with me with the book as well, because there's some links there too.
Oh, I love it. We're going to have you back, Dr. Kimberly, because I just felt like we just like tipped a little iceberg, but we haven't really.
Yes.
But
each thing can have its own podcast. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we definitely do, because there are definitely, I think, just in the community front as it relates to healthcare and different things that we just need to have generalized topics and discussions on. And if you bring it into some place where people understand that they're going to be heard and they can hear some of these issues without any judgment, it makes all of the difference, because there are definitely different things that we just need to talk about as a whole, as a community, to really help us be more connected with our physicians and our network. So I really appreciate it. Now, Dr. Kimberly, this is the part in our show where I say we cue the final thoughts. And I give my guests the opportunity to leave us with some very good parting words and really something that really embodies the essence of Dr. Kimberly Jackson. I want to cue to you for final thoughts so our guests can have that.
Awesome. So first of all, thank you again for this opportunity. I'm so just honored and humbled to be able to be here. And my final thoughts for everyone is basically the fact that every day that we have is a chance to do it better. And so we just want to realize that we can take what we've learned and take what we've experienced and use all those things to inspire others, to empower ourselves to live our best life, because it's just an amazing thing that we're here. And it's one of those things where even a smile or just being positive with someone else can make a huge difference in their life. And related to our health, to realize that our health is our wealth. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're making sure that you're taking care of others, and that you're just realizing my philosophy, which is a philosophy of faith, that all things work together for good of those that love the Lord, and they're good, that you call this purpose, so you can go to a higher thing. And he came to give us life and to give it to us more abundantly. So my wish is that you live a life of passion, purpose, outside of the box, and live it abundantly, because the sun is rising.
Oh, I love it. And Dr. Kimberly, what a light and beautiful spirit you have. I'm serious. And I just have to give you roses and honor you in this place. I know that you have a lot going on and you do a lot of different things, but from your air, your energy, I would not be able to tell. You seem
that is good. That attitude of gratitude. That's the one thing I should always add, an attitude of gratitude, because yes, God is good no matter what you're going through or what things are happening. One, it could always be worse. But when you look around at everything, like you say, somebody complaining about the shoes and the other person didn't have feet. So an attitude of gratitude, I think, takes us far. It definitely does for myself. So
it absolutely does. And I have to thank you for spending this time with me. I don't take it lightly. I consider it a great honor. And I tell my guests, as well as my audience, that let your voice shine. Transformative things happen when you do. I will never leave this place without saying I love you. And really, we'll be back in no time with another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. And we're out.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.